Alright, good afternoon everybody. It's your boy Keenan. Welcome to today's vlog. We are on week 7 of the college football season. Now I have a lot of key matches for you guys and I'm here to give you my predictions for these top matches. Now I'm going to head straight to Saturday. There's no big games Thursday nor Friday, so I'm going to start heading at Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. Big game between Louisville and Pittsburgh. The reason why I believe that this is going to be a key matchup because Pittsburgh ended up upsetting Va-Tech earlier in the season, and they have the home field advantage against Louisville. But overall, I think Louisville will be just a little bit too much for them defensively, and on the offensive side, they have a good quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater who has matured a lot from his freshman season. So I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals in this game. Next game we need to talk about at noon between number 6 Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State receiver Josh Ledge had a career day, 146 yards and 3 touchdowns in their big upset victory over TCU. But TCU had to play without quarterback Casey Paul, and that was a big difference maker for that matchup, and that's why the Cyclones mainly won that game. But they had the home field advantage, and this could be an upset alert for Kansas State. But I believe, like I said before, this is a good, disciplined team. I think Colin Klein is going to lead this game, this team on the Kansas Wildcat team until a good victory. Next game I need to talk about the Red River rivalry, one of the top games this week, probably second best. I had to go, and now this is not the game of the week, even though this is my favorite school. Texas Longhorns are going to be playing against OU, Oklahoma Sooners, number 15 ranked team in the nation versus number 13, and this is going to be at a neutral site in Dallas, Texas. Now this is pretty much a home field advantage for the Texas Longhorns because it is in the home state, but there's going to be a lot of OU fans at the Cotton Bowl. This is going to be a great matchup. Now the key for both teams in this game is the defense. Can we please see a little bit of defense in this matchup? For the past couple of weeks in the Big 12 Conference, we've seen a lot of high-flying scoring matches, and I believe that Texas has a pretty good defense, particularly in that defensive line, but OU had a big 41-20 victory last week at Lubbock against Texas Tech. Now this is going to be a hard decision for me. I am a big Texas fan, and I'm going to go with the Lou Holtz syndrome, sticking loyalty to your school, and I'm actually going to make a fan pick as better than an analyst pick, and I'm going to go with my Longhorns over the OU Sooners. I think their defensive line is going to step it up a little bit and have a good game attacking Landry Jones with Alex Okafor and Jeffcoat. This is a good defensive line. One thing they're really weak on is at secondary, and that's what Landry Jones is going to attack with experienced receivers led by Kenny Stills. This is going to be an extreme matchup. I think this is going to be a big-time Red River shootout. I really think that defense for Texas needs to be the man in this one. Be the top, the breadwinners, the top dogs. They really need to step up and show that they are the best defense in the Big 12 Conference. We have not seen any defense at all within this conference, and I really think the defense is going to be key for both teams, obviously. But I'm going to go with my fan favorite, my favorite school. I'm going to go with the Longhorns over the OU Sooners. But this is going to be a great rivalry matchup. Next game I need to talk about, Big East game between Rutgers hosting Syracuse. Now the reason why I had to point out this game is because Syracuse has a good aerial attack led by quarterback Ryan Nassib. This could be an upset. They had a good fight against USC earlier this season. This is going to be a pretty good passive defense test for the Rutgers Scarlet Knight defense, but I think they're going to prevail in this one. I'm going to have to go with Rutgers staying undefeated in this season. Next game we need to talk about, head over to the ACC Conference. Miami's going to be hosting UNC. This is going to be a good matchup to watch. Miami has a good quarterback in Morris, and UNC has a good quarterback in Brent Renner, and I did like to play last week by Giovanni Bernard against that Va-Tech defense, 262 yards, most by any running back against that Va-Tech defense in history. I think he's going to have a good matchup. They have a better offense overall than the Miami Hurricanes. Talk about the UNC Tar Heels, so I have to go with North Carolina, but this is going to be a good game at the U. Next game we need to talk about, Pac-12 matchup between Utah and UCLA. UCLA has been crumbling a lot for the past couple of games, losing to Oregon State, and last week it is a surprising upset at Cal. And I think UCLA is going downhill from now, and I have to go with Utah because they had a good defense and they put up a great fight against the USC Trojans at home. I have to go with the Utes in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about, upset alert, major upset alert between number 5 West Virginia and Texas Tech. This game is going to be again at at Lubbock. Texas Tech has the second home field advantage. They lost last week to OU, and they're looking to redeem themselves. Now, I mentioned before about West Virginia. They kind of lack the consistency in their wins. They win big against teams that are tougher, but they end up losing to teams that they should win, like last season when they lost to Syracuse, and I thought they were a better team overall. Talking about West Virginia. Now, I'm going to go with the Mountaineers in this one, but this could be an upset alert. They need to just continue what they're doing offensively, and I think that they need to put the ball in the hands a little bit more often to Andrew Bowie and have a more balanced attack, but they're still going to have a great aerial display led by Geno Smith. I think he's still going to have a good game, but this could be upset alert. They just need to be consistent in their wins, and I have to go with, and that's going to be key for West Virginia. They need to show that they can beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, and as well as the teams that they could have tougher matchups like OU later on in the season, and Texas, and they beat Texas last week. But they just need to continue with that consistency and win big in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about, Stanford's going to be playing at Notre Dame at South Bend to face the Fighting Irish. Now, these two teams have pretty good defenses. This is going to be a good defensive showdown. Now, last week, for the Fighting Irish, they had a great offensive display. The defense did well like they normally did, but the offense finally showed up and stepped up, and hopefully they can do the same this week against that Stanford defense, and they have a great defense overall, upsetting USC earlier in the season. They're still ranked 17. I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame in this one. I believe in this team. They have a chance of getting a 10-win season, which will be a successful year for Coach Brian Kelly and the Fighting Irish, and they have a great chance of making it to a BCS bowl game. I believe that they can do that, and I'm going to have to go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish because of that home field advantage, and I think their defense is a tad bit better than Stanford. Next game I need to talk about, Oregon State's going to be traveling to BYU to face the Cougars. Cougars have a great defense. They had a big win last week, 6-3, and I really think that defense is going to keep them in this game. And plus, quarterback Sean Mannion of Oregon State, he's been dealing with a little bit of injuries. He's doubtful for Saturday's matchup, and this is going to be a big upset and a huge loss for that Oregon State offense, but I think that defense is going to keep them in, and that offense is still going to do good enough with Agnew at running back. I think they're going to do good enough and get and escape against BYU at BYU. So the next game I need to talk about heading later on in the afternoon. Excuse me, but my throat. This is going to be a WAC opener between two good schools, Utah State at San Jose State. Now, both these teams are pretty much even offensively and on the defensive side. They're pretty much the same match. Now, this is going to be key for both these two quarterbacks, Chucky Keaton for Utah State and San Jose State's David Fales. Both these two quarterbacks has been leading this team to good victories. San Jose State only has one loss, and that week one loss, they barely lost to Stanford 20-17, while Utah State is 4-2. They had a couple of close losses, like last week against BYU. But I really think this is going to be a good defensive showdown. That offense for Utah State, they have a more balanced attack. But I'm going to have to go with San Jose State because they have the home field advantage, and I just have a hunch that they're going to win this game. So I'm going to have to go with the Spartans in that matchup. Next game we need to talk about, number 11 USC is going to be traveling to Washington to face the Huskies. This is an upset alert. I believe in a lot of Keith Price. This is a good team overall. They had a big victory against Stanford, who beat USC. But I think USC is going to step it up and just stay with that one loss and try to make it to the Rose Bowl at the end of the season. So I'm going to have to go with the Trojans in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about, TCU at Baylor. TCU suffered that loss against Iowa State due to the passing game from the Cyclones, and they struggled against Josh Lynch like I mentioned before. And then because they struggled against them, I gotta go with the Bears in this one. They have the home field advantage, and they have two good receivers in Terrence Williams and Tevin Reese, the two big targets for the quarterback Nick Florence. I think they're gonna have a good game passing attack. I have to go with the Bears over the Horned Frogs. Next game we need to talk about, this is gonna be a good SEC matchup between Tennessee and Mississippi State. Mississippi State is actually undefeated. This is going to be a great matchup for you guys. I'm going to have to go with the Bulldogs in this one. They have the home field advantage in this game, and they had a good win against Auburn. They're playing tough overall on both sides of the field. I believe in Coach Mullins' team. I have to go with the Bulldogs in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about, now this is going to be a surprise game for me of how well these two teams have been performing thus far in the season. Number 22, Texas A&M at number 23, Louisiana Tech. The Bulldogs are actually undefeated. The Bulldogs of La Tech, they're 5-0. They have the home field advantage, and they have a good NFL prospect and receiver Quentin Patton. He's one of the top 20 receivers in the nation this year. He's having a great season. He should surpass 1,000 yards easily. And I'm really going to keep my eye on him in this matchup. But I'm going to go with Texas A&M with the victory because of quarterback Johnny Manziel. He's been doing everything for this team, leading the team in passing and rushing. 6.9 yards per carry plus 7 touchdowns rushing. He is a great quarterback, and he has led this team to a 4-1 season. They only suffered 1 defeat in their first game against Florida, 20-17. That was a close loss, and I really think this Texas A&M team is doing a lot better than I expected. Now, these two teams was supposed to play with their first week, but it was postponed, so they're meeting up on this Saturday. I'm going to go with the Aggies in this one, but this is going to be a great matchup to watch. And last but not least, this is going to be my game of the week. South Carolina at number 9 LSU. I gotta go with the Gamecocks in this one because of their impressive win last week, 35-7 to a good Georgia team. Because of that D line with Sutton and Jadeveon Clowney, all they really have to do is put the pressure on Zach Mettenberg, in which Florida did last week, and there's upset loss at Gainesville. And I think even though they have the home field advantage, this game is going to be held at Baton Rouge. I really believe in that D line for South Carolina. They're trying to stay undefeated and make it to the SEC championship, and this is going to be a good significant victory for the Gamecocks. I'm going to keep my eye on both Sutton and Jadeveon Clowney. All they have to do is attack the passer and Zach Mettenberg, and plus they do need to stop the run, which they did last week against Georgia, holding both freshman running backs Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall to just under 80 yards rushing altogether. They had 76 yards exactly. That is a terrible game combined, and that was a good game overall for the Gamecocks. Because of that victory, I gotta go with South Carolina. I'm actually starting to believe in this school, but I'm still iffy on them winning the SEC championship overall. Now, this is going to be a great matchup to watch. Now, this week, I promised you guys an upset game of the week, and I named you a couple upset games, but this week, this is going to be the first week of the season. I cannot really give you an upset game of the week because there's just too many good teams overall, and I really had a hard time struggling. I struggled giving you the upset, and I just could not come up with an upset for you guys this week. I firmly believe that all these teams are going to win, and I just couldn't give you guys an upset. So next week, I apologize for that, and I will have an upset next week. Even though I did promise you guys I was going to give you guys an upset, I just don't see an upset coming up this week because we just all witnessed upset Saturday. That was a big wake-up call for all these teams, and they're going to step it up this week. So I have no upset for you, and I apologize for that. Now, the next time to catch you guys is on Monday to give you a recap of Week 7 of the college football season. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.